Welcome to the Conflict and War Studies channel. Today, my topic is Iran-US confrontation. As you know, the parties now are in a negotiation process. Two rounds of talks have been completed. On Thursday this week, the parties will be talking for the third time in Geneva. First two rounds have not brought any progress. However, continuation of dialogue was an important step. I guess they will have the opportunity to agree on issues, on the disputes on Thursday, and the war is prevented. What does the United States want from Iran? First of all, the nuclear issue. This is the priority for the United States. United States wants Iran to completely end their uranium enrichment, meaning that Iran will have zero uranium enrichment. At this moment, Iran has 60% of uranium enrichment, and the Foreign Affairs Minister of Iran actually stated in one of his speeches that they are ready to reduce this level to 20%. Going back to 2015 agreement, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, it was a bit higher than 3%. And additionally, there were important control mechanisms by the International Atomic Agency on Iran's nuclear program. However, this agreement, which was in my opinion very successful agreement, was unilaterally ended by United States when President Trump came to power for the first time. I think it was a big mistake for the United States, and today the position of the parties are very different, but it seems to me that Iran may agree on the conditions of the 2015 agreement, or at least on some conditions which are close or similar to that agreement. United States may also be a bit flexible on this, like agreeing on 2% or 2.5% enrichment. So this is one issue, but this is not the only issue. The second issue is the ballistic missile issue. According to US, Iran should limit the range of their missile capabilities, that they will not be able to reach to the territory of Israel. This is not acceptable to Iran, and this is very natural. I think any sovereign nation will not accept such a condition. As a sovereign nation, Iran has the right to have ballistic missiles at any range, and ballistic missiles are important element of Iran's national defense. The third issue is the Iran's support to some armed groups in the region, like Hezbollah in Lebanon, or Houthis in Yemen, Hashd Shabi in Iraq. Iran says that they will not make any concessions on this issue. In my opinion, I think this is not an issue that could prevent any progress in the negotiations. This cannot be a priority to reach an agreement between Iran and the United States. There is another factor which is not a discontent. This is the natural resources of Iran. Iran wants to use it as a leverage, offering that US companies can work in Iran in case the sanctions are lifted. This is stated by the Foreign Affairs Minister of Iran in one of his press conferences. I think this is an important incentive for the US and especially for President Trump. We know that he's very much interested in natural resources because US economy is in a difficult situation, and he welcomes any development that contributes to the economy of the United States, so that he may take this as an important incentive to reach an agreement. But the problem is Israel. The United States does not want to go to war However, Israel pressures US and drags US into a war. There is something which is not very understandable. The US policy makers are under very much influence of Israel. The American public is also very much fed up with the Israel and Israel lobby in the United States. The people of US does not want to go to war. And this is against the national security strategy of the US, national defense strategy of the United States. The United States explicitly states in their national security strategy that US wants stability in the Middle East and wants to resolve the disputes peacefully and aims to end US military presence in Middle East. However, now the US is going to a war against this national security strategy. It is stated in the defense strategy that the United States does not want to fight long-lasting wars, endless wars, to change the regimes or to build nations. The United States wants to carry out operations when needed, but these operations should be decisive and swift operations. However, in this case, this may last longer than the US expected. Maybe the US decision makers believe that they can reach to their objectives within a month, but it doesn't seem possible that they will be able to reach these objectives because Iran has some capacity to expand the war and to also inflict severe damage and casualties to the United States. It is very likely that the US has war-gamed possible military scenarios and found out that they will suffer severe losses. According to some media reports, the US may face at around 5,000 casualties. And if that happens, it will be very difficult for the US politicians and military leaders to explain this to their public. The public in US is very much dissatisfied with the developments. The public is polarized. There are political protests taking place in United States. The ICE issue is a very hot issue. The economy is not controlled. I mean, the inflation has not been able to be controlled in the United States. And in a protracted war scenario, US may find itself to bring additional forces, resources to the region, and this will weaken the US posture and position against China, which the United States has prioritized China in its security strategy. So there are too many contradictions, and one of the contradictions is the end state, is the political goal of this operation. Is it going to be a regime change or elimination of Iran's capabilities, both the nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities? The two are very different. It is obvious that Israel wants a regime change in Iran, wants an unstable Iran, and maybe a divided Iran. However, this may not be for the security interests of the United States. So this is also unclear in US statements. So militarily, the United States and Israel are superior to the Iran. However, the damage that could be caused by Iran cannot be acceptable. Iran has the capacity also to expand the war to the entire region. And when Israel enters into a war, this will also be a pressure on the Gulf countries in terms of their relationship and their support to the United States, because they are hosting US forces and bases in the region. So this is another important factor, and in the long run, the Gulf countries may change their position against the United States. This is also a political risk. We know that there will be elections this year in the United States. When taking into account all these factors, there are too many risks for President Trump, and this is maybe one of the reasons why he's very hesitant to go to a war, but he is under pressure of Israel. So it has also reported in the media that the United States wants to carry out a very limited operation, agreeing with Iran to satisfy Israel. However, this offer was rejected by Iran. This is not verified, of course, but this information has also been reported in the media. So as a conclusion, I will say that on Thursday this week, we will see what will happen. I hope that the parties will be able to reach an agreement and the war is prevented.